Peter Eliades with you, Stock Market Cycles Update for Wednesday, April 8th. We're going to show off some of the new aspects of the program now, some of the additional programming that Stefan Sherman has done. These charts show exactly the same thing as the other ones did, but they have a lot more clarity to them, and we try to explain them to you a little bit the other day. But let's start out by saying the thing that troubled us yesterday in terms of thinking we might have been at a top was we had not satisfied all the closing projections. Most of the intradays had been met, but not the closing price projections, okay? So look what happened today. This is the 7 to 8 day offset. You can see up here on the top, and that gives you nominal 20-day projections. And look at the different things. These are, I want you to visualize these charts now. This is kind of a ribbon. I call it a continuum. And all it is the space between a 7-day offset and an 8-day offset. And that whole continuum between the two offsets is what we have to watch for action signals, either projections to the upside or downside, or invalidations of upsides and downside projections. And we can do, the flexibility here is great. Watch this. So that's the continuum. The red offset line we can take away. We can take away the longer offset line, the blue one, and now all you see is the closing price, which is a light blue line, and the continuum. And you can see we entered the continuum here, and that's what gave you this lower part of the projection. And this was a simple continuum. Sometimes they go in and out and in and out. This one entered it here, and this was the second crossing up here. And that crossing up here gives us this projection up here. So what did we do today that we hadn't done yesterday? We entered into the projection window. This is where we were yesterday. We were well within this window during the day yesterday, but we were troubled by the fact that we had not closed inside the window, and this is a closing projection. Okay, so this is the 7 to 8 offset. Let's go to the next one. It's right behind it. Here's the 12.1 to 13.8. Those offsets are 2.5 weeks, and they give you nominal 5-week projections. You can say this. You can see this one's a little more complicated. You went above here, then you started coming below and above and below. So let's take those offsets off again and just look at the continuum. There's your continuum. So this, you can see as we go across like this, this would have been the highest point that the crossing would have taken place right here. And that gives you projection way up here. And this would have been the lowest place down here, and that gives you this lower projection. But the important thing is, we entered that window also today. Here's where we were yesterday. This is where we closed today. So basically, all the closing price projections have been met. Now, they've been met on a minimal basis. That doesn't guarantee you turn around from there. But the important thing is they are met on a minimal basis, and they weren't yesterday. So that's point number one. The next thing we want to look at is the NDX. So we'll bring up those charts right now. Okay, here is the NDX, and we're going to show you just two offsets here. These are longer offsets that have given, as you know from earlier videos that we've done over the past couple of weeks, significantly lower projections. Here's the projection way down here, and the lower part of it is as low as 5,385, way down, representing almost a 50% decline from the all-time high just a month and a half ago. But this is what's happening with this projection. We got well below it and made a stand below it with a whole bunch of closes below it, tried to get above it here, there, down again, and now here's where we are. This is the continuum. This is a 96.8. The red one is 96.8. The blue one is 110.6. And we got above one of the offsets here, but have not gotten above the second offset. Now, sometimes you'll get above both offsets for a day or two, maybe a little more than that. You start getting above more than that, and you're pressing the fact that the projection is any longer in effect. But if we get above here and stay above here and just take off to the upside, you can forget about this projection. But as of now, because we've only had a couple of closes inside the continuum, this projection is going to remain in effect until we see what happens over the next couple of days. We're guessing that we may start to come down again over the next couple of days, but that's just a guess. We don't base any projections on guesses. We watch the numbers and the offsets. So that's 96.8 to 110.6. The 189 to 194 is a little different. We've been above that now for 1, 2, 3 days. And actually 4 days. And you're starting to call this much lower projection into question unless you get below here again really fast. So these are very important days for the NDX. Okay, so you've seen the longer term on the NDX. You've seen the shorter term on the S&P, where the closing price projections have been met. We're not showing you the intraday charts, but one of the reasons why we think you might look for a reversal tomorrow is we're going to give you the minimum intraday moves to the upside that need to be seen by the Dow and the S&P to satisfy the minimums of all intraday projections. Most of those have been satisfied, but there are a couple that have not been. So on the S&P, you need to get up to a minimum of 27.7838. As you can see in the crawl above us here, they close around 27.50. So we're only talking about another 25, 28 points. 6 months ago, that would have been a lot of points. Today, that happens in 5 or 10 minutes. So that's the minimum upside on the S&P. The minimum upside we look for on the Dow is 24,037.49. That's a little bit higher in terms of percentages. You're talking about a move of, as you can see, 23,433. You're talking about a move of almost 600 points, so about 2.5%. If we get that at early going tomorrow, and because all the closing price projections have been met, that's an area where you look for the possibility of a reversal. Why are we talking about a potential reversal? Well, for several reasons. One of them is the minimum closing price projections have been met on the S&P. That's very important. But there's one more reason, and we're going to show it to you now. This is something we showed you just a couple of days ago. Look familiar? Daily advanced decline line, New York Stock Exchange. Look at this channel. It begins on the upper side with the closes. Well, we click on this line, it'll tell us. The begin date was April 12th of 19, and the end date was Jan 16 of 20. That's right up here. And then we exactly paralleled it down to this low. In fact, you might remember I made the comment the other day that it looks like we're cheating with that low because the price looks like it goes below the line. But let me zoom in for you and show you. The price is exactly on that line. So there's no cheating involved there. And so you just bring that line into the present. This, by the way, let me go back a little bit because my head's probably in your way here. This bottoming area here is where the Christmas of 2018 low occurred. So if we move that forward again, look where we are today. This is what happened in the last few weeks. We broke that channel significantly, rallied back to it from underneath, which would be a potential technical expectation, and then came down again. This is where we spoke to you a couple of days ago and said, because the projections have not been satisfied, we wouldn't be surprised to see a move back up again to the underside of the line. Look what happened today. Almost perfect return to the underside of the line. And we'll zoom in a little bit. By the narrowest of margins missed. I mean, if it's going to be exact, then you can have a tiny update on the AD tomorrow. But this is really close enough to say you may be looking at the possibility of a reversal right here and right now. That's what we wanted to show you in terms of why would you be looking for a reversal here. This is one of the main reasons. The advanced decline line, broken below the channel, came up to it once, down, has come up to it a second time. We'll be watching that. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so at the bottom right of your screen. Click on the notification bell. You'll be notified of any. We haven't done intraday updates for a long time. Maybe we'll surprise you one of these days and do something during the day. We'll see. It all depends what's going on in the market. But we've told you what to be watching for. Thanks a lot for watching our video. We'll talk to you tomorrow.